Hello, everybody. My name is Kimberly Clinch. I'm a Citizen Empowerment Coordinator with American Promise. And a big thank you to all of you who are tuning in to the call tonight, or if you are listening to the recording. Taking part in this is stepping up to save our democratic republic. So again, thank you. This is the first in a series of calls that we're doing leading up to our National Citizen Leadership Conference, or NCLC, which will be October 19th to 21st. These calls are concentrating on our Citizen Lobby Day, which will be Monday, October 21st. So tonight's call is all about registering and getting excited for NCLC, both the conference and the Lobby Day, and working together to get big money out of politics. And then our next call on Monday, August 26th, will cover how to schedule meetings with your members of Congress. The call in September will cover how to plan for and conduct those meetings. And our call in October will be an overview/refresher of everything. So lots to look forward to in coming months and in the next hour. The plan for tonight is going to look something like this. In just a minute, we'll hear from civic action expert and author Sam Daley-Harris. As he's talking, be thinking of questions you'd like to ask and press 1 on your keypad to raise your hand, because we're going to open it up for Q&A. Next, our wonderful NCLC Director Susan Muller will give an overview of the NCLC, and we will have some time again for Q&A on that topic. And finally, we're going to hear from Ann Drumm, an incredible American Promise Association leader, who is going to talk about her experience at last year's NCLC, how that led to her launching an APA in North Texas, and how she's getting ready for Citizen Lobby Day 2019. All right. We'll dive right into that, and to kick us off, I want to share this quote from legendary environmental cum democracy activist Frances Moore Lappé, who wrote, "Hope is not what we find in evidence, it's what we become in action." I'm going to repeat that with one addition that Frances Moore Lappé made herself in an interview with the Center for Eco-Literacy. Hope is not what we find in evidence, it's what we become in action together in community. Everyone on this call, listening to the recording, whether it's your first time getting into action around limiting big money in politics or your 100th time, everyone is creating this hope, and it's a powerful thing. I tell people about this phenomenon all the time, that working for this amendment full-time has not made me cynical, but rather hopeful about our country. And with that, I will move on to introduce Sam Daley-Harris. Sam has been part of American Promise from its first days, shaping the curriculum for the civic training we provide volunteers, training us here at National to deliver that training, and also leading the training himself for this very topic, Citizen Lobby Day, at last year's conference. I am delighted to say that he will speak again at NCLC this October. So Sam Daley-Harris founded the Anti-Poverty Lobby Results in 1980 and co-founded the Microcredit Summit campaign in 1995 with Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus and Finca founder John Hatch, and founded Civic Courage in 2012. Civic Courage helps nonprofits transform their members into courageous citizen leaders and uses public speaking and the media to inspire Americans to engage powerfully with their democracy. Sam is author of Reclaiming Our Democracy, Healing the Break Between People and Government, about which President Jimmy Carter said, quote, "Daley-Harris provides a roadmap for global involvement in planning a better future," end quote. Ashoka founder Bill Drayton called Daley-Harris, quote, "one of the certified great social entrepreneurs of the last decades," end quote. And Sam, to give you an idea of the kind of people on the call, after a few months of working with our volunteers, I have come to view them really and truly as the American heroes of today, the George Washingtons and Benjamin Franklins of our age. There are people like Ken, Lynn, Shelby, and Rod, citizen leaders in Wyoming, who collected tens of thousands of signatures for the 28th Amendment and brought that energy with them to Lobby Day last year, where they met with their entire congressional delegate in the same meeting. Suffice it to say, these are the kind of people who roll up their sleeves and put in the time, thought, and work we need to save our democratic republic. With that, it's my pleasure and honor to turn it over to you, Sam. Give me one moment to take you off mute. All right. Sam, you are off mute. Take it away.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kimberly. Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you. Congratulations to the American Promise Association's APAs for the great things you're doing. I know I'm talking to active APA members, perhaps some folks who have been inactive in their APA, and others who've never been in an American Promise Association. I'll have a message for each of you. I've started asking a series of questions to groups I've spoken to. The first is, how many people did not vote in the 2016 presidential election 3 years ago? I think most people are surprised when they hear that about 100 million people did not vote in the 2016 presidential election. 100 million. Then I ask, in last year's midterm election, by what percentage did the youth vote increase? Many are delighted to hear that last year the youth vote grew by 50% over the previous midterm election, and then are concerned when they hear that the 50% growth was from 20% voting to 30% voting, which means that 70% of young people did not vote in last year's midterm election. I don't say any of this to discourage you, but to urge you on. You came onto this call because you're planning to come to the National Citizen Leadership Conference, NCLC and Lobby Day, or you're thinking about coming to the NCLC and Lobby Day. Coming to the conference and Lobby Day is so beyond the discouragement and resignation evidenced in the 100 million not voting in the last presidential election. So congratulations. Your stand for being at the NCLC and hopefully encouraging others to come reminds me of this quote from futurist and climate activist Alex Steffen, who said, "Optimism is a political act. Those who benefit from the status quo are perfectly happy with a large population of people who think nothing is going to get any better. In fact, these days, cynicism is obedience." I love that. In fact, these days, cynicism is obedience. What's really radical is being willing to look right at the magnitude and difficulty of the problems we face and still insist that we can solve those problems. End of quote. So thank you for looking at the magnitude and difficulty of the problems we face and still insisting that we can solve them. Let me talk to those who are in an APA. This is my message to you. Do whatever you can to get as many members of your APA to the NCLC and Lobby Day. You might already know that one of you or two of you or four of you are coming to the conference. But are there others who are active in your APA who are not coming? Can you encourage them to come? Are there others who've become inactive in the APA? Having them come to the NCLC and Lobby Day might be just the thing to get them back in the game. Is there a neighboring congressional district that none of you live in? Do you know someone who does live in that congressional district who you could encourage to come to the conference? Or could they schedule the meeting with the DC office of their congressperson and then phone into the meeting with you sitting in the congressperson's DC office on Lobby Day? Is there anything you can do to help these and others come to the NCLC and Lobby Day? Could you hold a fundraiser? Could someone offer a scholarship, a travel scholarship? Could someone offer frequent flyer miles? Could someone offer to drive a second car to DC? Lobby Day is Monday, October 21st. Let's say you're meeting with the 2 or 3 U.S. representatives you work with and both U.S. senators. Could some of you or all of you stay the next day, the day after the conference, Tuesday, and meet with the rest of the congressional delegation in your state? What's so exciting about our Lobby Day and so different from most other organizations is that they bring their members in once a year, and that's it. They're all done. We meet with our members of Congress back home 2 or 3 or more times a year. And even if your member of Congress isn't in D.C. on Lobby Day, meeting with their top aide who handles our issue and deepening the relationship with that aide is also very important. Let me talk to those who are not in an American Promise Association, and you're coming to the NCLC, or you're thinking about coming, or you're coming to the conference, but thinking about skipping lobby day because it seems too nerve-wracking. Maybe you've never met with your member of Congress before and you don't know where to start. Don't skip it. Give yourself the gift of a living democracy, the joy of doing something new and having a breakthrough. We're going to coach you. We've organized these calls to coach you. This is the first of 4 lobby day training calls. We'll have trainings at the conference to coach you. When you register, you'll be contacted and told who is scheduling the meetings with your members of the House and Senate, or we'll ask you to schedule one or more of the meetings, and American Promise will help you every step of the way. In fact, the next of these calls, as Kimberly mentioned, is on Monday night, August 26th, and the focus will be on how to schedule a meeting with your representative or senator on Capitol Hill. And we've developed a manual. You'll hear this again tonight, but you can get to the Lobby Day Training Manual by going to the NCLC website. That's citizenleaders.us. Leaders is plural. citizenleaders.us. citizenleaders.us. Then click on the Lobby Day tab at the top. Scroll down to click here to download our Citizen Lobby Day Training Manual, and then check it out. If you're not in an APA, come to the conference and Lobby Day with an open mind about bringing the conference back home, about returning home and getting help from Kimberly or Rosie to start an APA in your community. You don't have to start an APA, but oh, the difference it will make if you do. Let me close with this review of the Champion Scale and a quote. Our work to enact the 28th Amendment will never succeed. Oh, let me repeat that. Our work to enact the 28th Amendment will never succeed if we don't learn how to bring more Republicans on board and if we don't work to deepen the commitment of our members of the House and Senate, whatever their party. This brings us to the Champion Scale. We need to move those who are opposed up to being neutral and move those who are neutral on a 28th Amendment up to being supporters. And we don't stop there. Most groups stop when their member of Congress becomes a co-sponsor. We don't stop. We need to move those who are supporters or co-sponsors up to being advocates, and moving those who are advocates up to being leaders, and eventually move leaders up to being champions for a 28th Amendment and for overturning Citizens United. I'll close with this quote from George Bernard Shaw's Man and Superman. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a selfish, feverish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I've got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. End of quote. So thank you for holding the splendid torch of life and making it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Thank you for your commitment to building a better nation and world. Thanks, Kimberly. Now we can turn it back to you and see what kind of questions we get.
Wow. Yeah. I've got goosebumps. Yes, we will. We'll open it up for questions. So if you have a question, press 1 on your keypad to raise your hand. Or perhaps, if you're someone who's been at a past NCLC, a past lobby day, and you can speak to, support second what Sam is saying about, overcoming any fear about lobby day, it would also be great to hear from you. What I might do is kick it off, Sam, with a question for you. For anyone on the call who is not familiar with the champion scale, could you provide maybe some examples that would give people the idea of how they could assess, what does it mean
I'm going to touch on
the 20th Amendment? Yeah.
Sure. Let me just touch on one thing. I'm going to touch on somewhere your congressional district or somewhere nearby, maybe, there's a member of Congress who is opposed to H.J. Res 2 or any of the others that we're pushing on a constitutional amendment. And I've done this before, and I'm just going to do it quickly. I would urge folks who are working with a member of Congress who's opposed to write down these 3 questions and then ask them and listen. Question 1, I know you don't support a constitutional amendment overturning Citizens United. What would it take to change your mind? Listen, listen, listen. Can you say more about that? Listen, listen, listen. Why do you think that is? It's really an exercise in listening, so they can get to the depths of the opposition where they've spoken it all out and maybe get to the point where they say, well, if you brought the Chamber of Commerce on board, I'd probably change my mind. If you, I don't know what. But that's one example of diving in with a member of Congress who's opposed to a resolution to overturn Citizens United and asking the kinds of questions to get them to spill it all out about what would it take to change your mind. Could you say more about that? Why do you think that is? And just listen, 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 and see what your assignment is from them. If you did this, maybe I'd come on board. Okay, what is the this that you could go out and then do? So let's see if there's someone, and maybe they could give their name and city and then their question or comment.
Absolutely, yeah, we do have a hand up. Floyd, you are off mute, so if you could let everyone know where you're calling in from and what your question is.
Yes, this is Floyd from Seattle, and I'm really new to all of this. I joined a call several months ago and simply asked, is there an APA or an organization in Washington? And the result was, you want to form one. And so I don't know anything about the conference or some of the mechanics about, is there a hotel reserved or...
Right.
This is all really new to me.
Okay, so here's the deal. What you really want to do is get this down, and you're going to begin. I know Susan's going to talk about some of this, and I'm not going to go into depth at all, but citizenleaders.us, that's going to begin to give you a whole sheaf of answers to your questions. Let me just ask you a question. Do you know the name of your U.S. representative? It's fine if you don't. You're kind of normal if you don't, but...
Delbene.
Who is it?
I forget her first name, but Delbene is my
great.
Congress.
So the question, have you ever met with your congressperson?
No, but I've met her husband because he works for Microsoft when I was there.
Okay, great. The idea of meeting with your congressperson in D.C., does that excite you a little bit or terrify you a little bit or neither?
Exciting. It's
okay,
really
great.
Interesting.
Okay, great. So, I would really, Susan's going to say some more on the logistical end, and the conference website will give you some more. And the other question for me is, are there others that you know in your community who've expressed concern about the avalanche of money in politics and the way it corrupts things that might come with you from Seattle to the national...
I have to admit that most of the people I've talked to are almost to the point of giving up kind of cynical about the whole situation.
Yeah, don't forget my quote. Those who benefit from the status quo are perfectly happy with a large population of people who think nothing's going to get any better. In fact, these days, cynicism is obedience. And I kind of love that line so much, because you be silent and stuff happens and you're just kind of being obedient to what's happening kind of thing. So it's exciting that you may come and maybe hopefully perhaps share the recording of this call with some folks, and it might be that they get interested in joining you.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, great. Let's see if we can get to another question. You'll get a lot of your questions answered either by Susan or going to the website.
Yeah, okay. Next up, I hope I say this name correctly, Janine Janaki. You are off mute. Did I say that correctly, Janine?
Yes, this is correct. I'm actually speaking on behalf of her. She's coming right back. But one of the questions.
Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Joe, and I'm from Middletown, Connecticut.
Great.
And so one of the questions I wanted to find out, but it appears I could go to the website, is finding out if there's a chapter in Connecticut. And one other quick comment I wanted to tell you, I heard you on the Ralph Nader show, it's probably like 6 months ago now, maybe a little longer, and I'm finally really getting interested, and I'm totally new, so I'm just really on board, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and if you could give me a little pointer or something, that'd be awesome. Okay,
so let me just say a couple of things. You can come to the NCLC and not be in an American Promise Association, a chapter of American Promise. I think what would be really useful is to come with some others, so that if you all get excited and you go back to Connecticut, you don't have to be alone if you decide to do this, working with Kimberly or working with Rosie in starting a chapter, and they will help you big time. So, Kimberly, you may know off the top of your head that there is or isn't one or more chapters in Connecticut, but they can connect you on that now or later. I think the real deal is, and let me ask you this, do you know the name of your member of Congress?
Sure, Rosa DeLauro.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. Have you ever met with her on an issue, not like at a cocktail party, but where you schedule an appointment?
The only time I saw her was a public meeting, and I was very disappointed.
Okay.
She was so busy.
Yeah. And the idea of meeting with her kind of face-to-face in her office or her top staff is a little bit exciting or a little bit terrifying?
No, I think it's exciting because this is such a simple cause to talk about. How can anybody really, in their heart be against taking money out of politics?
Exactly, except, they don't hear from us. So we need to, change that. We need to begin being the people they hear from. Okay, great. Kimberly, do you have any idea if there's an APA in Connecticut?
Yes, I can. So I have an idea, and the answer is that there is not an APA in Connecticut. And so one thing I'll say for those of you who are listening, Sam is talking about myself and Rosie, and so Rosie is the other citizen empowerment coordinator here at American Promise, my partner in crime. And absolutely, our job, our whole job is all about helping citizens like you, Joe, that are in places, get started. And so absolutely, I'll do my best to remember to follow up with you, but also you'll, in the emails you received information about this call, and in the follow-up email, there'll be a way to reach out to me, and please do that. Anyone who's listening in, if you're interested in getting involved longer term, we would love to hear from you, and definitely second Sam's idea that NCLC is one of the best ways to kick that off, as will be evidenced by Ann Drumm later in this call. Yeah. All right, we have some other hands up, and so I'm going to call on Carol. You are off mute. Do you want to let everyone know where you're calling in from and what your question is?
Hi, I'm Carol. I'm calling from McMurray, Pennsylvania, that is just south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And my question is about the I guess, the importance of going to D.C. versus meeting with my representative actually just a few miles down the road from where I live.
Right.
His people have already, they have offered to meet with me. We're holding back because there are some other supporters that we want to get on board before I actually meet with them. They did offer to connect in with their DC people during our meeting. Whether or not I would get to meet with my representative, even if I were in DC, is obviously, I guess it's an unknown at this point. I don't know if he would be available or not, but I do have access to his people at a local office, and they will connect in with the DC people.
Great. So let me just shift your question slightly, and I don't mean it in a weird way, from meeting in their local office or meeting in D.C. I want to shift it to the real goal is building a relationship with a member of Congress. And so that you're someone who's trusted, you're someone that, you know, they can count on, you're someone who's going elsewhere in the community, perhaps with letters to the editor, perhaps with speaking to other groups, you and others kind of thing. So it's not so much one or the other. It's really about building a relationship. One of the advantages of being in D.C. is, well, it's a kick just to walk down those halls, but one of the advantages is being face-to-face with the top aide that handles this issue, someone else you want to build a relationship with. Frankly, not just phone, certainly phone, but also kind of, in a sense, know each other face-to-face. So the bottom line is, you know, I really urge everyone to put their attention on, the head of Citizens Climate Lobby said years ago, we're betting the farm on relationships. Now go get a relationship with your member of Congress. So that's what we're talking about, a meeting where, I don't know, your member of Congress might be a supporter. You want to thank him or her for being a supporter, but help move them to be, great. Move them from wherever they are, neutral or opposed, up to being neutral or whatever that is. And that's not going to come in one meeting south of Pittsburgh or one meeting on Capitol Hill. But have you met with them once already or not yet? Or
I have spoken with his people, and I have spoken with people who are associated with him. I actually spoke with him directly, but about a different topic.
Okay.
I'm certainly not intimidated by any means at the thought of actually meeting with him face to face. I'm just thinking logistically. I know that I have, these people are just ready for me to, you know, give them the signal, and we've got a meeting. Like I said, we're building up other support first.
Well, let me, Kimberly, I think we're coming to the end. I want to tell a quick story, and then maybe we'll close it to the next section of the call. I want everyone to hear this. I spoke at George Washington University in their sustainability program last April, and the head of the sustainability program had just moved from a university in North Florida. And there was a big group, and you would know the organization's name, and they contacted him and said, you're in North Florida. We don't have anyone coming to the conference from Northern Florida to meet with Congressman Ted Yoho, who's on a key committee. And they paid his way to go to Washington. And he said, and then they never contacted me again for 8 months. It was 8 months later when I met with him. And the point is, the distinction that I want to make is the commitment of American Promise is not a one-time, let's get a lot of letters and then we're done, or a one-time, let's go to the lobby day at the NCLC and then we're done, but a month-in, month-out structure of support that can support the building of an American Promise Association and the sustaining of an American Promise Association with conference calls and guest speakers and group support, so that we can actually go much deeper in taking territory on the 28th Amendment. So I want everyone to think about that. You can come to the NCLC and go home and not start an APA. That's fine. I mean, I really want to encourage you to start one because that's where the support comes, that's where the relationship building comes, and that's really where the win can come. So thanks to everyone for being on this call and for these questions, and I'm going to turn it back over to Kimberly.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. And thanks to everyone who has a hand up. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of the questions, but please feel free to use the contact information available via email. The emails we've sent out and the recap email we'll send to let us know what your questions are, and we'll be excited to be in touch with anyone who's engaged in us in this call and this idea to have a question. So thank you, and I want to say thanks to Carol for that last question because I'm sure that that's something that's going to be part of the calculus for many of our APA members who are already involved in the organization and have started to establish relationships at a local level. Will be comforted to know that it's still worthwhile to come to DC. So moving on to the next part of our call. We're going to hear from Susan Muller, our fearless leader in organizing the NCLC, who has joined us tonight to describe the conference and lobby day. Again, if you have any questions, be ready to press 1 on your keypad. Susan, you are off mute. Take it away. Oh, one sec. Sorry, Susan. I did not successfully take you off mute. Susan,
okay.
Are you there?
All right. Yep.
Yes, great. All right. You're coming through the airwaves. Take it away.
Super. And thanks to everybody for joining our call tonight. As Sam and Kimberly have mentioned, our National Citizen Leadership Conference is being held October 19th to the 21st in the Metro DC area. This year we're going to have a day-and-a-half conference that will be held at the Hilton Crystal City Hotel in Arlington, Virginia, with our Citizen Lobby Day being held on Capitol Hill on Monday, October 21st. I thought I'd insert here, a listener had asked earlier on this call if we've secured a block of rooms, and we have secured rooms at a discount price of $139 per night before taxes right at the Hilton Crystal City, where all of the conference will take place. So now is a great time to book. As the host hotel, we anticipate the rooms could sell out at this rate, and they're not guaranteed after mid-September. So overall at the NCLC, we expect 300 citizens, elected officials, and leaders from all walks of life to attend the conference on Saturday, Sunday, and we're hoping for 200 citizens to attend Lobby Day on Monday. So some feedback from past NCL attendees has been overwhelmingly positive, which makes me happy to be planning our 2019 conference. Some of our comments have been, quote, "I feel hope and like I know what to do for the first time in a long time." Another quote was, "We came back really charged up with a ton of context, all with the same passion of restoring our democracy. Thank you." And a third quote that we got from previous conference was, "The speakers were excellent and very inspiring, and the sessions were very informative. It is just a great event, so I urge everyone to do everything you can to get to DC because it's a really special event." So at our 2019 conference, our speakers will lead talks, breakout sections, there'll be breakout sessions, and workshops on a number of topics. We just announced our first set of speakers, including John Pudner, Doris Kearns-Goodwin, Deborah Winger, Steve Lipscomb, and of course, our wonderful American Promise President, Jeff Clements, with more speakers to be announced soon. There'll be numerous opportunities for everyone to connect, network, and learn from one another, which is a real priority for this conference. At the conference on Saturday and Sunday, as Sam mentioned, we will be providing training and time to prepare for Monday's Citizen Lobby Day. Then early Monday morning, we'll head to Capitol Hill to meet with our members of Congress. As mentioned before, you can learn more about the National Citizen Leadership Conference by going to our awesome NCLC website, citizenleaders.us. So we hope you'll decide to register if you haven't already. I'm going to take the next couple of minutes just to talk through the registration process. When you register, you can do so by clicking the registration tab, pretty straightforward. We're currently have an early bird registration of $130, which is being offered. So it's a great time to take advantage of this low cost, as on August 5th at noon, we'll go up to our full individual registration price of $175. And that cost includes 2 plated meals, a meal Saturday night, a continental breakfast, and a meal on Sunday afternoon, a lunch. So it's a great value, and we have a number of efforts aimed at helping people who would like to attend overcome any financial concerns, as our goal is to keep NCLC diverse and affordable to all. So for students and youth, registration is always $40, way low, plus our new Youth Scholarship Fund enables us to offer scholarships to youth to apply for free entrance plus travel stipends. If you're in an APA, which I know some of you are, be sure to talk to your leader about your group's discount codes. Each APA leader has been given a code for 1 free ticket plus a unique APA code all members can use that keeps the registration constant at the lowest NCLC cost of $100. This year, we are also running our first ever APA Spread the Word contest. Each APA has a unique 10% off Friends code that can be used to invite members of your community, fellow civic, faith, educational, or other groups. And then when NCLC rolls around, whichever APA has the most people use their combined codes will win a gift of our classy white American Promise hats that will also be sold in the conference store, but that's a great prize to be had. So when you're registering for NCLC, as I believe Sam mentioned, you'll be asked if you plan to attend Citizen Lobby Day. As the majority of our NCLC registrants have already done this year, I highly encourage you to stay Sunday night and join us Monday for Citizen Lobby Day. Over and over, participants in last year's Citizen Lobby Day talk about how empowering and motivating these meetings are. People say at Citizen Lobby Day, you truly feel and know you are making a difference. After you register for NCLC and note you want to attend Citizen Lobby Day, Kimberly or Rosie will reach out to you and see if you would like to be the point person for fellow registrants in your area and members of Congress. Or if we already have a point person, they'll put you in touch with the point person in your area. As Sam also pointed out earlier, the last thing I'd like to mention before we turn it over to Q&A is that if you're feeling ambitious, you can start to get ready for Citizen Lobby Day by going to the NCLC website, www.citizenleaders.us, click on the Lobby Day tab, and click on the Download Our Citizen Lobby Day training material, and you can check it out.
Sweet. Thank you, Susan. Indeed, I look forward to making those calls with people who register for Lobby Day. And right now, hope to hear from some folks that have questions. So again, if you have questions about anything conference related, you've got the world's best expert in NCLC on the phone for Q&A. So press 1 on your keypad to raise your hand, and I'll call on you. And here we go. Bill Harris, you are off mute if you want to let everyone know where you're calling in from and what your question is.
My name is Bill Harris, and I am calling from Portland, Oregon. I wonder, is there a specific piece of legislation that has now been introduced that the Lobby Day is going to, for which the Lobby Day is going to urge passage?
That's a very good question, and yes, we will be having a main stage session on the wording of the amendments. And right now we've been looking at H.J. Res. 2, which is the Democracy for All amendment that's in the House. And then tomorrow in the Senate, this similar amendment will be proposed by Senator Udall and will be given a name. So right now that one doesn't have a name, but it'll be given a name tomorrow. So yes, you will have the chance to talk about amendments in the main stage and also in breakout sessions, so in smaller sessions.
House Joint Resolution number 2.
Yes.
And that's available online right now to read.
Yes. Yes.
That is, and I'll chime in on this question. Bill, I'm thoroughly impressed that you know what HJR stands for. For those of you who are not part of the APA network yet, or political junkies, perhaps you actually have other lives. So one of the most empowering messages that I have for people is that indeed there is legislation already that proposes this amendment. 20 states have passed resolutions calling on Congress for the amendment. So it's one of the best messages I get to say is that this movement is not just starting out. It's really quite strong. And part of that strength is the fact that in every Congress since 2010, there have been bills that propose the amendment. In the current session, there are, I think, 6 in the House and 1 in the Senate. Some more than others have support. And so indeed, HJR, which is Bill very awesomely knows, stands for House Joint Resolution 2, is one in particular that has a lot of support, and a mirror version of it will be introduced in the Senate tomorrow. And again, if this kind of stuff, sounds like, you're interested, but you don't understand everything, there's going to be a whole session at NCLC devoted to talking about the language of the amendment and understanding what the considerations are when we think about what the amendment should say. So, Bill, very cool question. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question. Plus, if you go on the American Promise website, www.americanpromise.net, under Who We Are and the 28th Amendment, you will see H.J. Res. 2 right there and explained with explanation. So that's a great place to start, too.
Yeah. All right. If you have other questions about NCLC, in general, Lobby Day, press 1 on your keypad. We might have time for one more question. Oh man, looks like all the ones jammed up at the same time. Oh, okay, someone got through. John Sonnen, you are off mute. If you want to let everyone know where you are calling in from and what your question is.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm amazed that you got my last name correct, pronunciation. John Sonnen, up in Juneau, Alaska. Hi, I was this close. You can't see my fingers. This close to getting a meet with my congressman, Don Young, about 3 months ago. I was talking to his scheduler, but I guess it blew him away by philosophizing too much, likely, because he didn't get back to me after I sent him a nice dissertation. I haven't only met Jeff. I've never met any of the either of my senators nor my congressmen. But I'd sure like to be able to sit down with them sometime. Can you help me with that?
John, we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing. What was the question?
Yeah, I'd like to meet you up with my representative, Don Young, for Alaska.
Okay, great.
I had some problems. Last time I had a meet set up, well, actually, wasn't set up. I was talking to his scheduler, and I gets bowled him over because after I sent him a dissertation, more or less, what I wanted to talk about, he never got back to me.
Gotcha.
So there?
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, good for you. Already, having taken the initiative to try to reach out. So if you haven't already, if there's anyone else who's in the same boat, I would encourage you, first make sure that you are going to the website to register for the conference, and then specifying that you're planning to attend Lobby Day. And when you do that, you'll get a follow-up call from myself or Rosie with information about reaching out. And then again, also making sure to take part in the next call we're having on this topic. So that's the last Monday of August 26th, where we're going to go over specifically how to schedule these meetings. We've had people reaching out and already at least getting responses from offices, even if it's, to say it's too early to schedule that meeting, but we'll circle back with you before the meeting time, before October 21st to confirm a meeting time. So absolutely, would love to be working with someone who's clearly so interested, and hope that we can give you information to help make it happen. And with that, I am going to move along. Susan, any parting words from you, or feel like you?
I think it's great. I just hope that everybody will join us, because there's going to be a lot of energizing talk, a lot of learning, a lot of networking, a lot of fun. We have Doris Kearns-Goodwin there on Saturday night doing an event with her son, Joe, and a lot of surprises at the NCLC. So I do hope you can all join us. Thank you very much, Kimberly, and thank you all.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, absolutely. I'll second that. I hope we see you all there. And again, to register and learn more about the conference, the website is www.citizenleaders.us. So CITIZENLEADERS, citizenleaders.us. You can also reach it from our site, theamericanpromise.net website, and then clicking on the conference tab. All right, and I am now thrilled to welcome and introduce Ann Drumm. When Ann registered for NCLC last year, it was the first time she was getting involved in American Promise, and she leapt off the starting blocks. She agreed to be the point person for her Texas members of Congress, including someone you may know, Senator Ted Cruz. And she came to those meetings so prepared that she won the respect of Senator Ted Cruz's staffers, inspiring her fellow Texas delegates to believe that cross-partisan relationships are possible. But she didn't even stop there, and took her own inspiration from the conference and went back to North Texas, determined to win 12 local resolutions by the end of 2020. After months of preparation and sowing seeds, the North Texas APA launched in April and is now organizing and training teams of citizens across the region to pursue local resolutions in their cities. Ann is experienced and committed both as a leader by example and as an organizer, and I'm honored to have her on the call tonight to reflect on last year's NCLC and Lobby Day and to share her suggestions for preparing this year. All right, Ann, you are off mute. I'll let you take it away.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. And as Sam is still on the phone, I want to say howdy from Texas to Sam. I've been a volunteer with Citizens Climate Lobby for about 4 years, and I went to 4 or 5 CCL conferences and lobby days, met Sam several times at those, plus participated in district meetings with Citizens Climate Lobby. But last year I decided I wanted to go to the American Promise Conference and Lobby Day because I had decided to get involved in democracy reform, and I wanted to get to know this organization to decide if this was the one I wanted to affiliate with, and I persuaded a friend from Dallas to go with me. It was at that conference last summer, meeting the organization's leaders and volunteers, learning about the issue and the constitutional amendment that we're advocating for, that I decided this was the organization I wanted to affiliate with. So I came back to Dallas, and as soon as the 2018 election was over, I got to work launching our North Texas chapter. I would encourage everybody to go to the conference. In my opinion, it's well worth it for several reasons. You meet other people who are either already active or, like I was last year, they're thinking about it and they're looking at it. You get inspired by great speakers. Last year particularly, I was just really astonished by Nina Turner. I have watched the video of her talk a number of times and recommended it to many people. And in fact, if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go to American Promise's YouTube channel and watch Nina Turner's talk from last year's conference. It is truly inspirational. There was another talk last year by Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry's fame. He's got this jaw-dropping demonstration of big money in politics that is just so impressive that I now use a clip from that talk every time I go out and do public speaking in North Texas about the 28th Amendment. You know, another reason to go to the conference is you have fun and you get inspired. I will also say that participating in Lobbying Day is empowering. As a climate change activist, I can get discouraged, but there is something about getting off the sidelines and participating in democracy that is empowering and hopeful. Last year, there were two of us from North Texas. We met with Senator Cruz, Senator Cohen, and one of our representatives from Dallas. This year, there are at least 5 of us coming from North Texas, and we're already at work setting up meetings with both Senate offices and with 4 or 5 House offices as well. So I know we're going to be a busy bunch on Lobby Day, and that we will come back afterwards and have in-district meetings with those offices as well. So I'm excited about Conference and Lobby Day, and personally, I wouldn't miss it.
Thank you, Ann. Wow, your word on the conference is making me excited about the conference. Just knowing truly, how important you've been in this last year to our network already. And right, I'll just say that I know that Susan's hard at work and has the kind of speakers lined up that will definitely, do the same thing this year, inspire people. And, next year we'll be talking about the YouTube videos of them. We've mentioned it a few times, and especially, having heard from Ann, if you're in an area where you don't have an EPA which is one of our local chapters, and you're feeling inspired about it, that possibility, please reach out to myself or, again, my partner in crime, fellow Citizen Empowerment Coordinator Rosie. You can reach me at KimberlyC@AmericanPromise.net. You can reach Rosie at rosies@AmericanPromise.net. And we'd love to, be in touch with you and know that you're thinking about it, and kind of have that on the radar when you hopefully attend the conference and get inspired and meet with a lot of people like Ann who, could help you with that work. All right, but, coming back to the core focus, getting excited and registered for this conference and Lobby Day, I'll wrap up. I'm just going to remind you again to learn more and to register, go to the website, citizenleaders.us. If you're feeling ambitious, you can start to get ready for Lobby Day by going to the conference website, clicking on the Lobby Day tab, and scrolling down to click here to download our Citizen Lobby Day training material. So again, if you don't remember all those steps, don't worry about it. Once you get to the website, citizenleaders.us, it should be pretty straightforward, intuitive. I just want to let you know that there is a lobby day training material. You'll probably be able to figure out, well, I should go to the lobby day tab, and then you should see it. But that's just if you're feeling ambitious. We're also going to, be here with you every step of the way, walk you through it, which, is going to continue with these calls leading up to lobby day, the last Monday of every month. So our next call is the last Monday of August, which is August 26th, and then we'll have a call the last Monday of September, which is September 30th. We'll have another call in October ahead of the conference, and then at the conference on Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have sessions to prepare for this. So again, just seconding what Sam said earlier, if there's any kind of doubt or you're worried about it, first of all, I totally understand and feel you on that, and that's why we're providing so much hands-on and really direct step-by-step guidance to walk you through it, and promise that you'll know everything you need to know going into that meeting to, no matter what happens, come away and feel good about yourself and your involvement in our democracy. That's, again, kind of the schedule we've laid out, but, if you have questions from this call, please don't feel like you have to wait for next month. Feel free, again, to send an email to me or Rosie. You can find our contact information on our American Promise website, americanpromise.net. Also through the emails that were sent out about this call and the recap email that will go out, you can get in touch with us. All right. And so with that, we've wrapped it up. I'll let you all go even a couple of minutes early. And again, want to say thank you for joining us tonight, for your interest in getting involved on Monday, October 21st, storming the Capitol, which I say jokingly, we're definitely looking to build relationships, but you guys are people who are interested in, willing to invest in taking back government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So thank you. All right. Night, everyone.